Alright, so if you've just downloaded the sample pack and you don't know what to do with it, let's start with a Logic tutorial. I'm going to create an audio track. Go over here, you can also click F to browse your files. Wherever you put the sample pack, probably downloads folder, maybe drag it to your desktop. You're going to go through and let's start with the loops. It's probably the easiest way. So we can go through, these are all things I've played, different styles that you can listen through. And let's go with just a simple disco. So we're going to drag this into an audio track in Logic, and we're going to match the tempo. I wrote all the tempos of these grooves. So that's 100. We're going to change our project tempo to 100, and now it should line up with the click. There we go. I'm not perfect, but it's pretty close. All right. So now you have a loop loaded in. You can play along to this. You can press Command R, repeat it, loop it here. But that's going to be good to go. Now, what if we want to do a different tempo? We're going to double click this, go to this symbol, flex time, turn on flex. And that's basically going to quantize it. Now, I'm not perfect, so sometimes there's glitches here. But it's in slice mode. So what this does is if we change our tempo now, this track is going to go along with that. So if we increase it to 120, there's a faster track. And the pitch is unchanged. Now if we go to 90, there we go. All right, another thing you can do that I think is a little more fun is go to speed in flex time. Now this is going to change the pitch also as we change the tempo. So it's like speeding up or slowing down a record. When we slow down, it's going to lower the pitch. Pretty cool though. As we speed up, it increases it. I really like doing this. Get really tight grooves. All right, so whatever you want to do with tempo and flex, that's a way that you can get your track sounding different at different tempos. Let's go to another loop. So some of these loops I don't include the kick, like this one. So that lets you have more freedom with your rhythms in your bass and your kick drum. So if we drop this in, let's go back to 100, which is where our disco groove is. Let's load this into a new audio track. Now this one's shorter, so if we wanted to match the length, we'd have to repeat it a couple times. Let's listen to it by itself. And it's at 100, so it's going to work. Now we haven't flex timed this yet, so let's do that. Turn on flex. All right, now as we speed it up, it's going to stay the same pitch as best as it can. When you go super fast, it starts to get a little weird. There's some drum and bass type grooves, slower. This is where you start to see kind of some glitchiness because it's taking little sounds in between the articulations. But since this is the same tempo and they're both warped with flex time to 100, we could actually layer both these grooves. A little sloppy, but it's kind of cool. Let's mute our disco track for a second, just deal with this hi-hat rim. And let's change it to speed, which is going to change the pitch. If we slow it down. All right, there we go. So now, that's one way to just get started with these sounds, is go through the loops. But what I really intended it for, at least with this first pack, is for you to be able to build your own kits. So we're going to go through that. We're going to create software instrument track. Now go to the inspector, and you can also click I as a shortcut. We're going to go to instrument, create an EXS24. This is a sampler. Click edit. You're going to get this window. Now this lets us add our own samples. We can do this a bunch of different ways, but the way I recommend is build your own kit one shot at a time. So we're going to go to maybe some kicks. We can click and listen through. Let's just take kick number 3. So I'm dragging this to C1, and this is going to map to our keyboard now. So there's a kick. Let's add a couple more. There's a cool one, putting this on C sharp. There's D. Put kick 1 on E flat. Go back to your sample pack folder. Let's add some, maybe a rim click. All right. Maybe a little flam. Let's add some snares. Cool. There's a trappy one. All right, and you can look through samples and add some more, but right away we can see with your MIDI keyboard connected that those are mapped to those notes. Right, there's our kicks. Now a cool thing that I intended actually with the hi-hats and cymbals is I just recorded 2 hats for this, 2 different sets of hi-hats for this pack, and recorded a bunch of different velocities and articulations, so we can actually kind of create more realistic sounding grooves. So with that, you can actually select multiple. Let's go back. I'm gonna get 14-inch. All right, so there's just 4 closed hats. And it's going to bring up this dialog. It should be automatically ready to go, but you want contiguous. Click OK. And that's going to map 4 in a row, starting from A flat. So when I play those, you get 3 different velocities. And when we play those in succession, we can get realistic sounding grooves. There's more closed hats, hats with tambourines, open hats, etc. The rides I'm particularly excited about because I've never been able to find good ride one-shots. So let's take 4 of those and we'll put those next to the hats. Contiguous. All right, now let's hear those. Cool. All right, so now we have a basic kit built. Now you can keep going. If you wanted to create just a ride pack, you could go like this. Take everything, continue on from where we left off. Now look at all those rides. If I play through those, it's a lot of rides. All right, so now we can save this kit, whatever you've built. You can always go back. I'm going to save it as a sound. So you'll want to create a folder. I've already made some, but make a new folder. Just follow Logic's dialog. Let's do TK kits, and that's where the drum kit will live. And let's just call it TK kit 1. Maybe it's a ride emphasized kit. Save that. Cool, so now in the EXS24, that sound exists right here. So if I created another software instrument, for instance, created another sampler, in here, I could actually go through to that folder, find the TK kit, ride emphasis. And now that's all mapped to our MIDI keyboard. Right? Okay, so we can add these samples to the loops. So we're going to just play this. So that already has a hi-hat and rim. Maybe I want a snare. Or I want more rim. But we probably want to add some kick to this. Again, I'm playing that into the MIDI keyboard. Now we can record any of these samples. So cool, now we got a little loop, and everything I just played is now in this MIDI clip. So we can select all of these and quantize them. There we go. And we can change the velocities of these if we want. I played them all pretty hard. Right? There's our rides. Maybe we want to copy these over. And maybe we want to copy these rides over to the start. There we go. So if we solo the samples without the loop, that's what we have. And maybe I want to add some hi-hats to that I dropped into this kit, right? So let's record that. Now those are in. And now it's missing backbeat, so let's add some snares. You get the idea. Alright, so we can either have those all combined. We can even add our first disco track in. Gets a little sloppy at that point. But those are three different ways we can do it. Now let's say maybe you've already figured out your drums, but you just wanted to add some rides. Then you build a ride kit, and whatever you've already got going, you can add parts in.